Well, welcome back to the podcast, Conversations with Jeff Bucknam. Dr. Jeff Bucknam is the lead pastor of teaching and vision at Harvest Bible Chapel in Chicagoland, and I'm your co-host, Tommy Creutz, and today we are going to have a conversation because we believe that everyone has a story. And but before we get into that conversation, we're going to have a totally different other conversation called the Preamble Ramble or the Pre-Ramble, where we talk about whatever it is that we want. And what we want to talk about today is it's June 4th at the time of us filming and recording this. Apparently on June 5th, we will be dead.
Wow. That was abrupt.
So says science.
Trust the science, Tommy.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But maybe there are some people who knew that there is a fairly large asteroid flying near the Earth.
Really?
Yep. It is from Forbes, not from me.
What does near mean?
Let me tell you exactly. This asteroid, it may be as wide as the Golden Gate Bridge, which I don't know why. It
may also be as wide as my pinky.
Yeah, I don't know why they don't just say like how wide is that? Like as if
It may be.
We live in the Midwest. Why would we know how exactly wide the Golden Gate Bridge is? I've never even seen it. Anyway, rude. But apparently it's bigger than 97% of asteroids.
Ooh.
I'm guessing.
Take that, other 97% of asteroids.
That's a big head. This asteroid 424482.
That's the name they gave it?
Yeah, that's kind of lame.
They couldn't
424482.
They couldn't give it the name like
Asteroid
Colossus.
Could have just called it Golden Gate at this point, you know?
Yeah.
Why not?
Double G.
GG.
All right.
Good game. You know?
So,
because it's going to take us out.
What is it going to take us out?
No, it's not. I'm sorry. In the top line of their article, they don't give any key facts. I needed to read a little bit more. The asteroid is about 1,000 to 2,200 feet in size.
Ooh.
Okay, which puts it in the top 3% of asteroids.
Got it.
What a good education this asteroid's got.
It went home to his asteroid mom and dad and said, check it out.
Check it out. I'm the best. One of the best. 3%. It will come. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
You ready to be terrified?
Mm-hmm.
This is what people have been scared about for the past, how long, Wesley? Week? Months?
Since
I saw an article like 14 days ago as well about this, that city killers were hiding behind a particular planet.
Ooh.
This being one of them. Do you know how close it's coming?
So the idea is that there are these asteroids, city killer asteroids, which is a way better name than 4122442. Yeah. And they just emerge from behind a planet.
Yeah, you can't see them before.
Come straight at us.
Yeah. Well, it will come within 2.17 million miles. Sorry that I scared you that we were all going to die tomorrow. No, this is it's going to come about 9 times farther away. It's going to be about 9 times further away than the moon is. But that's close. In the vastness of infinite space,
it is.
The probability is close. It's close. 2.17 million miles. Any object that comes within 4.6 million miles, and is larger than 492 feet is capable of causing significant regional damage in the event of an impact.
What regional damage?
Yeah,
meaning regional to our planet.
Yeah, it seems
in our planet's region.
Yeah, it is referred to by NASA as a potentially hazardous object.
Potentially hazardous.
Yeah.
Object.
So get your asteroid bunkers and your Doomsday prepper food. It's happening.
It is.
I thought that was a little fun.
Seriously, the galactic winter is about to be upon us.
Yeah.
Once this thing hits.
Yeah, you thought you were in for summer, huh? Nope. Galactic
There was
winter.
a period of time where all the movies that came out were about like an asteroid hitting the ocean and then the tidal wave that hits because of that.
Yeah.
That was like a thing for a long time.
Yeah, what was the name? There's a movie.
Yeah.
What was it
There's
called?
Lots of them.
Total Impact.
Yeah, but there's like 3 or 4 other movies that have the same premise.
Yeah, it's a good premise. Hey,
Do you know what I say?
It ain't
I say
broke.
all of this is because of climate change. That's what I say.
yeah, we by
That asteroid,
our CO2.
that asteroid
Yeah.
didn't want to have anything to do with us until our CO2 levels got to a certain level, and now it's like,
It's doing a flyby because it's like, hey, you keep going, I'm going to get a little closer.
Warning.
You know what I'm saying? Warning. I can smell your carbon dioxide.
all right.
That's what they are. The little. Hey, do you want to know what the potential damage if it would have struck us would have been?
Sure.
All right,
Yeah.
here we go. It poses no danger to Earth, the article says. But if an asteroid the size of 2008 DG5, that's a better name than the other one, did strike Earth, it could cause catastrophic regional damage,
Oh, regional.
causing shockwaves and tsunamis.
Ooh.
The Tunguska effect.
So here in the
event?
Midwest,
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you the tsunami's not really an issue.
Yeah, correct. But the Tunguska event from 1908, which saw a fireball, massive forest fires, 80 million trees knocked over.
Really?
Yeah, think of our lakes. What do you think would happen to all of our fish?
80 million trees. That's a
80
lot.
million, 80 million trees. And that was caused by an asteroid just 130 feet. So this is about 10 times bigger. So
Yeah.
think,
So the idea is let's avoid the asteroids. Whoever is flying planet Earth,
Yeah.
let us avoid the asteroids.
yeah. Yep. So
The Lord our God is up there in the cockpit, and he is
Swipe that one away.
He is like, you know what? I got no problem going through this asteroid belt.
yeah. Swipe
Okay.
that one. He was like, 2.17 miles away. We're all right.
Mm-hmm.
So that was just a little bit, a little fun space.
Well, I appreciate you
Final
sharing
frontier.
the most recent Doomsday scenario with us.
Yeah. I'm always trying to keep a pulse on those.
I enjoy I actually enjoy hearing the different Doomsday scenarios
Yeah.
and how far-fetched they have become.
How, if you were to maybe.
Why are we so scared about all the things?
Yeah.
Seriously, when I was a little kid, I don't remember ever knowing what a pandemic was. They didn't ever talk about it, but now they talk about a pandemic. Even before COVID happened, they talked about it every couple of years. They talk about
Epidemic.
I will say that on the news, there's always been the next ice age coming, or in this case now, it's the
Great movie, by the way.
the whatever you call it, the climate change.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I think climate is changing. I have no idea how it's being caused. I don't have any idea.
You're such a Pacific Northwesterner.
No, I am. I don't. But again, I don't want to get into a fight about any of it.
Yeah, you're like, read your Bible.
Look,
Pray and
I'm sure
recycle.
that the climate is changing. Things change quite a bit around the place. It is a verifiable fact that every several years there's a new doomsday thing that people bring up.
Yes.
That we're all going to die from a pandemic. We're all going to die from an asteroid. We're all going to die from zombies.
Aliens.
Yeah, we got all this stuff.
And
there was a lot of talk about aliens for
Yes.
just a little while there, and now that's all gone
it's all
away.
gone. Where'd it go? Why doesn't it? It needs to stay.
Yeah.
Public exposure. We need to hear more about it.
Yeah.
What would you say on a scale of 0 to Doomsday's coming, Doomsday prep master? Where do you think that you fall on that scale? How Doomsday prepped are you?
I'm
Got a go bag?
very not.
Got any
No,
powder dehydrated?
I don't have
meals?
anything of that sort at all.
Nothing?
I don't have a weapon either.
No. Okay. No instant coffee even.
No, I don't have any of that.
Wow.
Nothing. A couple jars of peanut butter,
Okay. Hey, there
which
you
I
go.
think
What
you
about
probably
honey?
live off of.
Honey.
No.
Tough.
No, I'm really terrible about all of those things at all. I have been to people's houses before where they've got like an armory
Yeah.
and buckets of food.
Have you ever met someone with like a bunker?
In the Midwest, isn't every basement a bunker?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
No, I mean it. I actually had this weird thought right before I was going to bed last night, as I do, about if there was a nuclear weapon. Because we are currently this. That's more likely right now.
Yeah, that's more
is
likely
that
than
there's going to be
DGM-5.
Well, there's going to be that the Russians and the Ukrainians are going to tip off World War III somehow,
Sure.
and all of a sudden we're going to get nuked. Okay. But I have a feeling that like we here in the Midwest, it wouldn't even affect anyone because everyone just be down in their basement under the ground.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
I don't have a basement.
You do too.
No, I don't.
I thought everybody here has a basement.
No,
they don't.
Fancy
Okay.
folk do.
Is that right? Am I fancy?
Yeah, most. I would say a lot of people do. A lot of people have basements. But there's a very popular type of house called a ranch or even a raised ranch, which is no basement.
Okay. Well, you guys are.
We're not a raised ranch or a ranch.
Well,
we're just no basement people.
You're dead.
Yeah, exactly. I got a
But
crawl
you can
space.
come over to my basement if you like.
Thank you. I have a crawl space that is about 5 feet, and it's one of the most confusing things ever. Of like, just dig like 3 more feet, and
So they decided not to do that. I get it.
Well, it's frustrating because where am I going to keep all my stuff? Where am I going to have a chance to be a dude in my house? You know?
Do you keep the stuff in a crawl space?
Oh, that sounds terrifying.
You don't have any.
The Great Mouse War of 2020 happened in the Creutz crawl space. That is not a place I want to spend time ever.
The Great Mouse War.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
How many mice did you find?
Oh, 20 something.
Really?
Yeah.
And they all had different little hats on.
Oh, they're all dead now.
To signify
They all fell in the battle.
Which army they were fighting for?
They were against me. That's all I knew.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. They were.
Oh.
Yeah. I was victorious though. I won.
Did you use pesticides of some variety?
No, I used traps.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I went medieval.
Like how? Like what kind of traps did you use?
So I started off with like the wood. I've never fought a mouse battle before. I've never done it. So I used the Baxter or the Baxter wood.
It was awful, I tell you.
I dream about it. We actually, no joke, the way that we found out is that we turned on our kitchen light and there was like 3 mice just went like across the floor, and Kelly screamed. And I was like,
You don't do that
my
in my
wife.
Don't do that in my house.
I'm going to get you. Yeah. So anyway, and then we found a bunch of like mouse droppings, and we're like, it's on. You listen. You can hang out. You can't poop in my.
You're
house.
not going to defecate in my house.
You're not going to defecate on the floor of all places.
Where did you
please.
find them all? Were they all in
the crawl space? Yeah, they were hanging out.
You set up just those little wood traps.
The little wood traps first. Using peanut butter, crunchy.
Got it.
It's got the little. You know what I mean?
And
those worked pretty. They were okay.
Did you have to go and check them every day?
Mostly, yeah, pretty much.
How many were you catching a day?
Multiple, like three or four. Not at this time. Not at this time. They would lick all of the peanut butter off of the wood traps. Oh, they were crafty. Yeah.
Vermin.
And so I was like, that seems impossible. Perhaps, I need to think of another solution. So I then went out to the, Home Depot, and I decided.
And I bought a flamethrower.
No, yeah, that would have been awesome. I bought different traps. So I got the plastic ones that are, I don't even know, like you multi-use too. You pull it back, it snaps, and then here's the thing that was bad about these traps is they didn't have enough power to kill the mouse when it snapped. So they just
held it there. Waiting for
Zion, my son, runs downstairs and he goes, like, it's in the morning. It's like 7 a.m. And he just screams and he's like, Dad, there's a mouse.
There are 30 mice.
He's not dead. He's still moving. He starts crying. I'm like, what have I done? I have traumatized my son.
But since
the mouse, no joke, we put the thing in.
Since the mouse was still moving, you put him in a chair and you threatened his life and said, "Show me where those other mice are."
Have you ever waterboarded a mouse? I have. I'm kidding. I'm joking. I haven't. But this was sad. The trap that I put down was on one side of my kitchen.
Ooh.
When I went down to see in the morning, the mouse was on the other side of my kitchen in the trap. He had dragged the trap
across. Dude, that is you're a bit of a sadist.
Well, I didn't mean to do that. So,
like, you're an unintentional sadist.
Yeah, it was an unintentional. I let him go in the street, and I gave him a firm, don't you dare come back here.
Exactly.
You tell your friends. Did
he tell his friends?
Did you enjoy your experience last night?
Did he tell his friends?
Dragging that trap across my kitchen floor? He didn't tell his friends. No, they still hung out. So I got a trap that was it was quite a bit meaner looking.
Ooh.
Had like teeth.
Nuclear version of the trap.
Yeah. And I was like, this needs to have it had the power.
Okay.
It had all of the power.
You should have tried a bear trap. That would have worked.
I did a rat trap.
Oh. Were they rats?
Nope.
Would you even know the difference?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
These were little guys.
little guys. And let me just tell you that rat trap, so that was too much.
Oh.
Too much power.
So it was really taking care of those.
Clean.
Ooh. All right.
Anyway, so just so there was a big battle. I won.
And you've not had any trouble with mice.
I defended my territory.
Okay.
And it is I don't know, that's the first time I've ever done it. If there's another way that you can do that without like actually like killing the animals, they're very cute.
Oh yeah. Speaking of very cute mice.
Yeah. Here
Louis Go is going to be joining us today.
Yeah, that might have been your best one. Yeah. That might have been the best segue that we've had so far.
Louis is just a cute little guy.
Okay.
So I'm actually looking forward to talking to him.
Yeah, you guys are going to have a conversation. And Louis does a couple of things at our church. Right now he's in communications and production. And so you guys are going to have a conversation about his story because we believe everyone has a story. You guys are going to get into his right now.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Get it? Louis, go.
Let's go. Louis, go. Oh, man. Those poor mice, man. I feel bad.
I'm sitting here with Louis Go. That's his actual name. Yes. Louis Go.
Yes.
It's not a nickname that they gave him when he was running track. Although it would be a great nickname.
I did run track.
For running track. And how did they cheer for you?
They didn't because I was really bad. So I was lost.
Did they didn't yell at you angrily? Louis, go!
They did, and it didn't work. It was still bad. But it's fine.
All right. What did you run in track?
I ran the 100. That was my main thing, and then I also did the long jump. Is it the long jump? Yeah, it was long jump.
Really?
And I tried pole vault, and that terrified me, so I didn't do that.
Have you ever cleared any bar on pole vault? Like, have you gotten to the point where you get the pole into the hole and you go up over anything?
I was too scared. I tried it, and I just was terrified.
My niece actually was a pole vaulter.
Oh, wow.
I know. I don't think it's physically possible for me to pole vault anything.
It's terrifying.
Oh yeah, it's nuts how they're able to do it.
Yeah, because you have to you're horizontal.
Yeah. No.
And what if you don't keep going? You just fall back down.
I've often wondered who came up with that, like as a competition. Do you know what I mean? There's 1,000 other things you could do in your life, but how did you other competitions that we could have? I understand discus. Here, throw this thing as far as you can. I get that. That seems like a feat of strength type thing. Mm-hmm. The pole vault is one I don't. The high jump, just jump over this thing. But we're going to put this large bendy pole in your hands.
Somebody's really bored
and
one
you
day.
Are going to launch yourself up over. How far could you launch yourself up?
Right. Someone was really bored one day.
I don't
know.
Thought
that was a good idea, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, we should compete for prizes in this.
Yeah, right.
I wonder if it was a jouster. Do you know what I mean? And he missed his target and instead hit the ground and then launched himself quite a distance.
And so people said,
this is much safer than jousting.
Mm-hmm.
Louis, what do you currently do at Harvest? We had covered your title just a second ago.
Sure.
But what exactly, what are you doing here?
Yeah, I ask myself that every day. But officially, I'm both production and comms. So on the weekends, I'm either running sound or doing other things, and then midweek I'm doing things with Sherri as far as graphics and videos and podcasts and things of that nature.
How long have you been at Harvest?
About 5 years now.
On staff?
Mm-hmm. I've been attending since 2008, but
oh wow,
staff since
it's a long time.
5 years, yeah.
Where are you from? Where you born?
I was born in the Philippines.
Okay, where in the Philippines?
Southern Island, Davao is what it's called.
Okay.
I was born in a different city, but moved there a little bit. But yeah.
And how long did you live there?
13 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So you're fluent in Tagalog.
Yeah. Well, I'm a little rusty now. It takes me a couple of days.
What do you mean you're a little rusty? You can hear it. You hear it, and you know it.
Well, I understand it, and it takes me, when I go back home, it takes me a couple of days to reacclimate. Then it kind of all comes back, but because I don't speak it often enough, it kind of I just don't think about it anymore. But
do you know it's what most people do not know about world politics is that the Philippines was a United States protectorate.
Yes.
For a very long time.
It is, yes.
Yeah, and that actually the U.S. dollar was the currency there for a very long time. Is it still?
No, not anymore. I think at some point they wanted their own freedom, and
yeah. But it was a U.S. When I was young, I think it was still a U.S. protectorate. That's how old I am. I'm pretty sure it was.
Oh,
but maybe not. See, now I feel like I'm old. I was born in the 70s.
I definitely see the U.S. influence in the country.
How so?
Education system. I mean, we were taught English just all throughout.
Education system, like overpriced universities.
Well, not so much, but just most things are taught in English. Books are in English.
Yeah.
So you kind of grow up knowing the language.
So did you learn? You learned it in school. You learned
I did.
English
yes.
in school.
Yes.
Okay.
I was in Chinese school, in Tagalog, and that's how I learned Tagalog, English, and Chinese.
Okay. Chinese, Mandarin, Cantonese.
It was a different dialect. I think it's called Fokien.
See, I think you're making this up.
I'm
now.
totally.
I
not
think you're
making
like, I know several languages: Klingon and Romulan.
I don't know Chinese anymore. I was never good. My dad is full Chinese, so that's why we were in Chinese school.
So Filipino mother.
Yes.
Chinese father.
Yes.
All right. And what did your family do? What did what was your work that your dad did or your mom did? What?
Yeah, so my mom was she was involved in insurance, so she did sales for that, I think. And then my dad, he was a part owner of a really kind of family business. It was like those cargo ships. They had a business, that family business, and they've had it for.
They had a family cargo ship business?
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you guys just... How do you do... Sorry, in my mind, I'm thinking about Maersk and Sealand and...
yeah. Like major, those big crates or whatever.
But it was a family business. Yeah. So you guys just ran a little mom and pop shop with your own 2 cargo ships?
Well, it was huge. It was like a whole fleet of them.
I was going to say, that's a lot. Yeah. You usually are like...
Yeah. Yeah, so that's...
Have you been on a cargo ship?
No, never.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
For how many years did they run this business?
They still have it. Yeah, I mean, they've had this for...
And you've never been on one?
No.
Come on, man.
Yeah, maybe when I go back.
Get into the family business.
Maybe.
Who still lives there?
Most of my extended family, my immediate family is here. My mom and my siblings, but most of my immediate cousins are over there. And
so, how often do you go back to the Philippines?
Man, once every couple of years.
Okay.
Not too often.
And for how long are you there?
I can tolerate about 2 weeks and I'm ready to go home.
So why do you say you can tolerate it?
The thing is though, like
what? Why? That sounds kind of negative to me.
Sure. Well, I love my family. Don't get me wrong, but we don't do the fun things. When you go to when other people go to the Philippines, they go to do the fun things. There's island hopping and go to the beach. Visit the
beautiful
volcanoes.
beach. I've been told the Philippines have some of the prettiest beaches around.
It's gorgeous, but I actually experienced any of it because we just go see family, which is fine, which is great. But, and it's really hot. It's so hot.
Yes. Well, it's very near the equator there.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Right. It makes sense. But
yeah. So you go, your gifts get really hot, and you have to have lots of aunts and uncles kiss you and hug you and speak English to you, though?
No, I just speak in the native language.
Really? And are you oftentimes at a disadvantage because of that?
Not necessarily. I mean, it takes me a day or two to readjust and I can talk back. But then if I just speak English, they understand what I'm saying. So.
okay.
So it's never an issue.
Yeah, that's good. So every couple of years?
Yeah, more or less.
Okay.
Yeah.
How many siblings do you have?
I have 2. I have an older brother and a younger sister.
Oh, okay. Middle child.
Middle child. Explains a lot.
It really does.
Yeah.
It really does. But they're all local.
Yes, my brother lives in Pingree Grove, and then my sister lives in the city.
Okay. And mom and dad live locally?
My mom lives with my brother.
Okay.
And then my dad passed away last year.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So, yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Did I know that?
I think you did.
I did.
Yeah.
That sounds very, very familiar.
Yeah. That was last year. So.
Yeah. It's very hard. That kind of thing.
No fun.
No. How old was he?
67, so 57.
Oh, that's quite young.
Yeah, 57. So.
Really?
He was born 67, so he would have been 57.
Holy smokes. He's 5 years older than I am.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a freak accident. So.
Really? What happened?
Car accident.
Oh, dear.
Mm-hmm.
That's terrible.
Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah, I remember hearing. I do recall your dad passing away, but I'm not sure I ever really knew all the details about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. How's that gone over the last year?
It comes in waves. You know, the thing is, we weren't super close just because like my parents separated when we were younger. So it was only recently that we reconnected with my dad, like within the last 3 or 5 years, something like that. Which has been great. And
so when you say they separated, were they divorced?
Not officially.
Okay.
You know, just
separated.
I think for a long time, and I still think it's true. I don't think divorce is legal in the Philippines, or like that's not even a thing.
Okay.
And so, you know, people can separate, but on paper they're still together.
Okay.
You know.
So, but you hadn't seen him because you're 20.
I'm 30.
30 years old. So like you hadn't seen him for a good long time.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So most of my life, really. So.
What led to you reconnecting with him?
Well, so my mom got really sick, and so she wasn't able to support us anymore, at least not as well. And I needed help with tuition because it was when I was in college. And somebody brought up the idea, maybe you should ask your dad. And I was like, I don't even know the guy, you know? And so finally I was like, well, I need to go to school. So, you know, I reached out to him. I was like, hey, this is the situation. Are you able to help out? And, you know, I'm sitting here like not expecting a dime. And he basically offered like about like 80% of my tuition.
Holy smokes.
Which was crazy. And I was super thankful. And that was kind of like the beginning of like us reconnecting. And because I know, you know, he had some reservations too, because he knows he made some mistakes growing up and things like that. So, you know, and he didn't know where we were coming from. So there was definitely like, we weren't like super close right away, but kind of took time.
When you came to the United States then, you were 15?
13.
13 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And why did you come?
So when they separated, I was around maybe like 5 or 6 years old, and it was just my mom supporting the three of us. And so it kind of came to a point where like she couldn't really support us herself.
Yeah.
And so she applied to get a working visa and got her papers and then moved here when I was 7. So that would have been 2001. 2 weeks after 9/11 is when 2 weeks before 9/11 happened is when she moved actually. And they got really strict with the immigration. So it actually was like good timing. But yeah, so she came here, and then we stayed back for like an extra 4 or 5 years because we didn't have papers. So
who did you stay with?
My grandparents.
Okay.
Yeah. On my mom's side.
So she came out and she was working in the United States for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember those days very well?
Oh yeah. Very, very, very vivid actually. Yeah. It was weird. It was weird. Like as a kid, because, you know.
That sounds like, just people who live in the United States, that sounds so odd.
Yeah.
That you have a parent, you know, you're the only parent in your life really that would leave to go somewhere else to try to financially make it.
Unheard of in a lot of cases. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it was tough even back home, because even in that kind of environment, like I was still in the minority of that kind of situation. Like I remember there would be school events, and like all my friends would have their parents around, and I would have my grandparents, which is I appreciate them. I love them dearly, but it's just different, you know? Yeah.
So you came, when did you move out here then? For a few years later?
About 5 or 6 years later, yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Was that because that was always the plan, or is that because she just financially was able to manage it at that point? Or
I think that was always the goal, was to reunite. And I think for her, it wasn't really feasible to move back there. Like it would have been better for us to move here. And so.
Why Chicago?
She had some family here. It was either New York or Chicago. And she decided here. Here I am.
So here you are.
Here I am. Yeah.
Think about that, dude. You could be a Yankees fan right now.
I could have been a Yankees fan.
Like,
awful.
And I don't say that, and that's not good.
I like
You
John
should
Nichols.
be thankful every day that the Lord brought you somewhere where you're not a Yankees
Right.
fan.
Like John Nichols. You know, that would have been terrible.
You came out here. What was your first impression? I mean, because this must have been no, seriously, like moving that at that age would have been probably one of the most traumatic experiences of your life.
Oh yeah. So
what do you remember?
First of all, I remember thinking, "Wow, the air smells really good here." That was one of the things Yeah.
Which part of Chicago are you in?
Well, just like when we got into the suburbs, like I was like, oh, the air smells nice. It's clean, because back home is like we live in the city and very very populated, densely populated. So
lots of pollution,
a lot of pollution. So I was like, oh, this smells nice. But beyond that, like culture wise, it's completely different. So this, like when you live in different places, you kind of you become extra sensitive to like culture and like what's differences, how they're similar, how they're different.
What were things that you noticed that were very different?
How individualistic the States is.
Okay.
It was just different. Not necessarily good or bad.
How did that show up? As opposed to,
I think the way like family dynamics worked, where like there were different expectations when as you get older, like and this is not as popular anymore, but like at least back then, like when you turn 18, you get kicked out or at least pay rent.
Yeah.
Whereas in the Philippines, it's like either you stay home until you get married, or you even bring in your family to live in that same household. You get like
it's very common around the world.
Yes.
My experience in most of the places that I have lived.
Yeah.
Because Canada's still quite a bit like the U.S., but there's a heavy influence in Canada from like South Asia.
Oh, South Asia, okay.
And other parts, and the Far East.
I actually have some family in Vancouver.
Yeah, lots and lots and lots and lots of folks from Southeast Asia whose culture has, of course, influenced the way they think, and then of course that bleeds over into the way that a lot of Canadians think. And so you would find in Canada, I mean, huge homes built by a lot of South Asians, and by South Asian, I usually mean Indian families for the most part. And there were early on when we moved there, it was like, oh my goodness, how do these people have so much money? They live in these castles.
Yeah.
But you come to find out there's like 6 families living in the castle, and they have that was always the plan.
Yeah, right.
That they would buy an enormous house,
right,
and they share it.
Well, it's either that, like one enormous house, or like one like.
Well, cheaper to have the one. I'm not trying to be whatever, but if you had 6 families in British Columbia, there's no way they could afford a house or houses that would be as suitable and helpful as the ones that they had. They had big property and beautiful finishings and stuff, but they could do that because they were all sharing the costs of it.
And sometimes it's multiple property or multiple houses on the same property.
Yes, it is, like compounds and things like that. But very common. Like I didn't know anybody who was like in college or just after that who was from that community who was not living with their parents.
Yeah.
It's not like they weren't contributing to the house. They were, but the idea was you'd be here till you get married, and if you're married, it's not a big deal for you to stay here. It's just whatever works type thing. But you're right. In the United States, it's very much like when I grew up, the expectation was 18 years old and you're out. And we have there was a movie that was done years ago called Failure to Launch, which is such a very American film, that we would mock somebody who was still living with his parents, even though he's single in his 30s, for example. And that's not an uncommon thing around the world.
Even in the approach in child raising, it's different. Where like in Asia, it's very much like you don't push for independence as much. Like the approach is like, well, you're a child and you don't really know anything, and so let me teach you and let me help form you. Whereas here, it's very much like forcing them towards like independence and like. Think for yourselves.
Well, and if you've ever watched some of the movies, like Disney and the kids are always brilliant, and they're always the ones who are right, and their parents are stupid, and they don't know anything.
Exactly.
But like seriously, this is the mentality.
Exactly.
And as a result, those stories keep getting retold. There's almost this weird like, oh, children are the purest among us, and if we just need to get back to our childhood mentalities, and before we learned all this evil. There's that kind of mentality in the U.S. and in other cultures, it's actually, no, kids are dumb.
Yeah.
They don't know what they're talking about.
Yes.
Why would we ever listen to them about anything?
And the elders are to be respected.
The elders are to be respected.
Been through it, the experience. Yeah.
Right. They've lived a long life. They know what they're talking about.
Yes.
That kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so those cultural differences would have been very challenging.
Oh yeah, very jarring
for you. Did you find when you started going to school, because you were in junior high at that time?
Yeah, I was coming into 8th grade.
And
well, so it's funny. I took a test to see if I needed to go to ESL, which I looking back, I probably should have, just because there's.
Dude, I still think you should go to ESL
just for the culture part of it. But they assessed me and they said, "Well, I think you're good enough to just go to the normal classes." I was like, "Really? Oh, okay." And so they just threw me in the deep end, and I was like, "What?"
Did you have a clue what was going on?
No, like I was like, "What are lockers?" Like, this is weird. And so, and then my locker mate, she's, God bless her, but yeah, just doing things. I'm like, what is happening right now? But anyway.
Did you find it? Did you find it kind of welcoming to you though, or did you find yourself kind of being off in the corner by yourself?
What's interesting about that was I would try to approach the people that kind of looked more like me initially, but they were the ones that were kind of pushing me away. It was actually the Caucasians that were like, "Oh yeah, come join us." I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool, this is great. I thought you were gonna bully me, but I'm glad that because movies.
Well,
it's
good
like
to know that you didn't.
Yeah,
get
no, it was
bullied.
great. Yeah, it was great. So
that's fantastic. What school did you go to in high school?
I went to South Elgin High School.
Oh,
yeah. So
Elgin, was always out in Elgin that you were
ish. Yeah,
All
I've
right.
moved around a bit, but kind of stayed around the area. So
Okay. And what kinds of things did you do? You ran track, we've learned.
yeah, I ran track. I tried wrestling.
Really?
Yeah,
Were you any good at it?
I won one match.
Did you?
Yeah, with the headlock. That was my.
Did you know what you were doing?
Oh,
or
yeah.
were you just down there squirming around thinking, I hope I get points for this?
I like to think I knew what I was doing, but I think I kind of found myself like, oh, I'm in a position to headlock, so let me just.
Really?
Yeah, I won one match. Unfortunately, I wish I won more. But
Is that how many did you wrestle?
At least a dozen.
Okay, so
Was
you were
not good.
you were the first round warm up for
yeah.
a lot of people.
That was not good. Yeah.
So then you stopped doing that.
Yeah, my main sport is basketball, but I didn't grow very tall, so I was like, maybe that's not for me.
So I have a good friend who I knew when I was in college, who actually went to the Philippines and played basketball. All the hoops there were 9 feet at that time because they wanted to incorporate the dunk into it. And so my friend is 6'5".
Oh.
His name was Scott, and he had red hair. So they called him Big Bird because that was back in the late 80s.
Yeah, Larry Bird.
And so he went out there and he played, and they would have thousands of people in these auditoriums cheering like crazy.
Oh, yeah.
And he would dunk. He would always say to me, he was a heavier set guy. So he was like, there's no way I'm going to be able to dunk on any regular hoop, but 9 feet when you're 6'5", that's not hard.
Yeah. For some reason, basketball is huge in the Philippines. I have
really
no
is.
idea why, but
really
it is.
So you played. Were you point guard? Did you Yeah.
I like passing. I'm a team player. I like passing.
Okay.
I could shoot a little bit, but.
Did you? Were you a musician?
Yeah, I play music. I mean, my stepdad put me through some music lessons when I was 10. Started with drums. I liked it, but I didn't have a drum set at home, so I couldn't really practice. So I switched to guitar. So
I've actually heard you play guitar.
Oh yeah.
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 You're pretty good at it.
Thank you. Yeah.
Why don't you do it more?
I don't know. They need me in other places, so.
Well, I'm not sure. Need is the word that we would use for you.
Yeah, right. Let me. Yeah.
I'm teasing, Lewis. One of the reasons I enjoy you is because you're a bit of an international, so you put up with my sarcasm.
Oh yeah.
Internationals seem to like it a little bit more than the Midwesterners.
Easy going.
Yeah. So when you finished high school, so you have the older brother, younger sister.
Yep.
How much older is he?
He's 5 years older.
Oh wow.
And then my sister's 4 years younger than me.
Okay, so that's quite a gap.
Amount,
so when you come out of hght school, did you grow up in the church at all? Are you involved in church stuff?
Yeah, so we were born into, when I was born, we were going to Catholic church.
Okay.
So
Very popular in the Philippines.
87% is Catholic.
Wow.
That might be a little different now, but I think it was around 4 or 5 years old. My mom switched churches when she was going through what she was going through with her marriage. She got involved with an AOG church actually, and they loved on her super well, and just were so kind, and we started going there, and it was my first exposure, I would say, to because I don't really remember anything from Catholic days. I think I was too young when I started to remember things was at the Assemblies of God Church, and I was there for big church and the whole 9 yards. So,
wow,
yeah.
So, how long were you involved? I mean, how many years did you go to the AOG? Was this through high school?
No, this was through just up until I moved to here. So
and then you moved here, and when you moved here, did you start going to church? Do you guys find a church, or is it?
Yeah. So my stepdad actually, thankfully, was a believer, and so he and my mom had been going to church for a while, and they were going to Harvest for a little bit actually, because my stepdad was really good friends with another guy that was attending Harvest.
Yeah.
And initially I was like, this is boring. I don't want to, I was 12. I didn't know anything. So we switched to Willow for like a year.
Yeah.
And, God bless Willow. It was great. And, I enjoyed it for a year, but I was like, kind of got to a point where like, I kind of want to try Harvest again. And I've been there since, here since.
When did you, but you joined the staff at 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So there were several years that you were not involved on staff. And those were the years that you were going to high school, college?
High school, college, early 20s.
Okay.
So
where did you go to college?
I went to community college for a couple years, and then
where?
Elgin Community College.
Elgin Community College.
I did Liberty Online for a little bit. Then I was like, this
just 160,000 people, and that number's an actual number. I was at Liberty University recently, and first of all, have you been there? Of course you have.
Yeah.
Okay, it's super swanky. It's a little bit much for me.
Yeah, it's a little much.
Like it's beautiful. Everything's amazing. Okay.
Yeah.
And I just was like, holy cow! How do they have all the money for this? Because the school itself is actually not that expensive, and there's lots of donors. But basically, the guy who was with me said, one of the guys who was with us said, a lot of it has to do with the online classes. They have 160,000 students.
That's
so
crazy.
when they did graduation the week before I was there, they had 30,000 people.
It's genius, honestly.
Live doing graduation. I was like, wow, that's amazing. So they do it in their football stadium. Yeah. On the campus there. So it's a remarkable university. I had no idea. It occurred to me when I was there that Harvest has a lot of people from Liberty who come here. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, this is for you guys. It's like coming to a dumpster fire here, right? Because we don't like we might have decent facilities, but it's not Liberty's like I don't know. It's like
nines,
the nicest spots ever.
Yeah.
And so for some reason our warehouse church isn't quite as neat.
That's okay.
As the Liberty.
That's okay.
It is. I agree. Yeah. I'm in it. But of course, I tend to be a little bit grungier, a little grittier. The southern.
I'm used to the slums. I'm easy to please.
Yeah, the Southern University is not quite my
cup
of tea. So, what did you study?
I studied business for a little bit. Then I was like,
why?
So I'm a math guy. I was always been a math guy.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, if I gave you a calculus problem right now, could you do it?
It depends how hard it is. I do some basic derivative stuff, but and a little bit integrals, but
so derivative.
It's been a few years, so I probably don't remember at this point. But my dad is always. I think I get it from him. He was always a big math guy, but in the same way, he always hated like accounting and like engineering. He was never into any of that. And I tried all those things. I was like, I'm not into any of this. But he was always like very entrepreneurial minded. And so I was like, well, maybe this would be good for me. So I did that for a little bit and I enjoyed it. But then a year in, I was like, I don't know if I like this school thing. It's expensive and I'm cheap and I just don't want to do this. So I might go back. But for now.
You decided it wasn't for you.
Yeah.
So what did you want to do? Like at some point you got to do something to
honestly,
earn your keep.
That's true. I think eventually, I kind of had to like soul search. I was like, okay, what do I actually want to do with my life? Middle child, identity crisis, all that. it's fun stuff. But I knew I enjoyed being in ministry, and enjoyed the production stuff and cameras and all those things, and so kind of just kind of went into that, and yeah, I'm enjoying what I do. So
the camera stuff, and that's like, would you ever want to but I think you like producing stories and things like that. That's kind of your cup of tea.
Yeah.
Like if I told you tomorrow, hey, you're going to be the new camera guy at the football game, you'd be like, eh.
All right, yeah, I mean, sure.
You know how to do it.
Yeah.
But it's not not that kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I love like testimonial stuff, like where you actually get to tell a story, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is the last video that you made?
I mean, we've made a lot of videos, but the last major one we worked on was it was like a car, like they did racing and stuff.
Oh.
And this guy has a company that, basically they swap out engines, certain kind of engines, and you're just making a video for him, for his company.
I have a friend who does this. Their business is called Cassiar.
Oh, nice.
And they make videos for, commercials and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, I do have a business that is similar, like a video production business, and it's fun. I enjoy it.
You also take pictures for weddings.
Yeah, it's all under the same umbrella.
What's it called?
The
company? Umbrella. What is it? Is it Lewis Go?
No, it's called Ascent Visuals. Is my company name.
Oh,
yeah.
I would have put something with Go in there.
I tried.
Go.
Yeah, it felt tacky. Felt tacky.
Every father, you got to appeal to the fathers of the bride.
That's fair.
I'm telling you, Ready, Set, Go. That would have sold everything.
Yeah. See, I could always rebrand.
So you go out to wedding venues and you take pictures for people.
Yeah, pictures. Sometimes they want video. So.
What is the best part of that? What is the thing that you look forward to when you go to those places?
Honestly,
I also want to know what the hardest thing is.
Yeah, well, it's hard for me because when you go to so many, you can kind of get jaded a little bit.
Why?
Because you see it all the time, so like the magic kind of goes away a little bit.
Really, the wedding magic?
Yeah, the wedding magic. But honestly, like it really does. It's always there.
What's the best thing you've seen somebody do at a wedding? Come on.
I can't think of that.
There's nothing?
Nothing that comes to mind.
Nothing unique that anybody did that you're like, I was actually kind of neat.
I went to an Indian wedding recently, and that was really, really cool. Like they know how to party.
Okay.
They know how to party. That's all I can say. But I will say just anytime like the giving of the bride to the groom is always like it's a reminder of the covenant. It's just a beautiful thing. Yeah. It really is every time. That part never gets old to me.
Okay. I learned at a wedding that I was at that I was actually doing. Mm-hmm. I've done a lot of weddings.
Yeah.
I have never moved. Not once have I ever moved for a picture.
Yeah, you're supposed to.
Of the bride and groom getting kissing each other.
Yeah.
Not one time in my life. Mm. And then they were like, are you going to move for the picture? And I was like, do what?
Yeah.
And they explained to me, well, you're supposed to move. And I said, I am not. And they said, yeah, you are.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, okay.
Yeah.
So that wasn't really a thing. Was that a thing? See, I'm looking over at the other old people in the room. So this is an Instagram thing that's going to happen now.
Primarily for the pictures.
Yeah. It's all for the pictures. Yep. Everything's for the pictures.
Yeah, it's all for the gram, as they say.
It's all for it. So you are the producer of the fake version of the wedding.
Yes, I am. You can put it on me.
Right?
It's my fault.
How many sepia tones do you use, bud? A lot of them. A lot of black and white.
Two main ones, just two main. Yeah, black and white's it's a go-to for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. So
that's good. Do you enjoy, like, if somebody asks you to do their wedding, is it something that you look forward to?
Oh, I do. Honestly, I do. Yeah, I think it's always a challenge for me to like, how can I make this feel unique to them? Yeah. And like, because sure, it's a wedding. Like I've done a million of them, but like, it's ultimately it's their unique story, and so crafting it such a way that communicates that. So.
That's good. So you kind of run your own business at this on the side, and then you also sometimes show up to work here.
Sometimes, yeah.
What people don't know is that Lewis is usually one of the people that I deal with on a Sunday morning. Whenever I do, I'm out at, especially Elgin, I think, mostly. Yes. If I'm out there, I'm dealing with Lewis. And sometimes he shows up on times, and other times he doesn't. Sometimes the slides are done. Other times they're not.
Here's the thing. I just go so fast sometimes that I don't have
sometimes
time to quality control.
Yeah, quality.
Yeah.
Who needs quality when you?
Here's the thing: when you're doing it in the moment, you just think everything's correct.
So this last week, I was preaching a sermon actually out at Elgin,
Oh, no.
and you during the sermon decided to walk onto the stage and start like stalking me. You came up behind me like you were gonna kill me.
No.
And then you walked away.
Yes. So let me explain what happened. What I was trying to do was I was trying to sneakily, without you noticing, clearly I failed.
Well, everybody else notices when you stand up on this stage right next to me.
Yeah,
I know.
Right.
Did you know that?
I tried to be subtle. I failed.
So everybody, I'm looking out at them.
So they're looking at me.
And they're looking at you. And I'm like, oh.
What's going on
What's
there?
going on over there?
I was just trying to move the mic stand. That's all I was doing.
Well, the mic stand, so when I step out and I preach, usually there are
they
mic
usually
stands
move it, yes.
that are not near me.
Yes.
But in this particular occasion, your girlfriend decided not to move the mic stand.
Yeah, well, that wasn't her fault. So
there was this mic stand sitting next to me the whole time for quite a while, and I thought I probably should move that because it's really driving me nuts.
Yeah.
So when I moved it, did I move it into a location that was blocking something else?
Yeah, it was just in the main kind of center camera view, so that's why I had.
But you were cool with it before, when it was just sitting there initially.
Ideally it would have been further back, but we just it was a miss. That was our bad.
All right, and then you guys came up and you decided to stalk me.
I'm sorry.
No, it's all good.
Yeah, I figured it was either me or Trip. I figured I was like, I'm less threatening. Let me do it.
Well, yes.
So
gave me an opportunity to poke fun at you.
Yes.
So I enjoyed it, not just here, but even during this service.
Yes.
So
yes, I will say though, going back to because you mentioned like college and all that, like what I wanted to do. What's funny was all throughout my college years, my favorite part about college wasn't even like the education. It was I got to lead some Bible studies in college.
Yeah.
And that was fun. I got involved with the church out in Mount Prospect, kind of further east, and they kind of really discipled me in a lot of ways and taught me how to exegete scripture and be able to teach it. There's nothing that accelerates your faith than teaching it. Yeah.
Well, you have to process all the stuff and feel like you have answers to the questions that you have in your head.
Well, right.
And it tends to really help you ground it and at least focus on it in your head and come to some good conclusions about it.
Yeah. And absolutely. I realize I love learning about this and like theology and all those things. So I do a lot of self-study. So
that's great.
Yeah.
I do have, you're dating a girl.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You knew that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
That you knew that. She's from Liberty. She's like she's like Queen Liberty.
Yeah. Her dad was involved in the early days. So.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I have to say something really quickly about Liberty.
Mm-hmm.
Again, beautiful campus, amazing facilities.
Mm-hmm.
Also a little bit weird.
Sure.
They have a like a little area on the campus that is, I don't know what else to call it besides a shrine to the founder.
Oh, I've never been.
So there is a headstone. He's buried there, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, he and his wife are buried there, Jerry Falwell.
Mm-hmm.
And it honestly looks like a president is buried there. There's a garden.
Sure.
There's these weird fountains going on, and this enormous headstone there.
Yeah.
And then outside that headstone are the smaller lights of the Liberty world who are buried there as well. It's like names of some people who apparently are quite important to the school. But the garden itself, which is out in the behind the house that I think was there, or maybe it was their house, is unbelievable. How shriny it is.
Sure.
I just didn't know what to do with that.
As long as people aren't praying over there or doing some weird stuff.
Well, it is a prayer garden.
Sure. But you know what I'm saying, like
praying to him.
Yeah.
This is something that we were talking about the United States earlier. Like the celebrity thing is something I don't really know what to do with in the U.S. It just seems like we love our celebrity. We just love the idea that somebody is famous and that we want to put them on some pedestal, and when they die we want to make a big huge thing to them.
I think it's part of the American dream. It's part of the promise
to be famous. Well,
part of it is like when you're famous and you get all the things, you get all the the white picket fence and all the things, and live prosperously, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Could be. I don't know.
Yeah. So for those of you Liberty grads, I probably just offended each and every one of you. But that's okay.
Sure. A lot of great kids come out of it. Yeah, really.
I haven't met any yet. I'm kidding.
So
It's been really lovely talking to you.
sure.
All right. You're a Cubs fan? You don't care?
Relatively.
Okay. You don't care, though.
No, I'm not really a baseball guy.
Basketball team? What's your favorite team?
The Bulls, unfortunately.
Okay. No, that's
Yeah.
good. They're still
It's rough.
rocking and rolling.
It's rough.
Right. If you could do anything on a given day, what would you do?
Sleep. Easy answer.
Dude, you're like a dog.
I love sleeping. I really do. Eating and sleeping, my favorite things.
Best food that you get to eat?
Chinese food.
Where's the best Chinese place?
Either Chef Ping or Lao Szechuan in Chinatown.
Okay. Chef Ping?
Yeah, that's around here in Meadows.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no one just told me about it.
It's about 10 minutes away. It's great.
Okay. Well, I'm going to have to talk to you about that one.
Yeah.
Chef Ping.
Yeah, it's great.
Second favorite food?
Ooh, probably sushi. Sushi, yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Mhm.
Oh, man, you got to go to the Northwest. Sorry. Look, the West Coast has,
I believe it.
like Chicago, pizza's a thing in Chicago.
Yeah.
That's what they do
Sure.
that's what they do, especially in the Northwest.
That makes sense. By the
They have
ocean.
a large Japanese community.
Okay.
So Pacific Rim
Okay.
types of food are what they do.
Okay.
So
I'm going to have to try
when
that.
you get a chance, you go do that.
So it's on the list of things I want to do is
Okay.
Pacific Northwest. So
All right. Well, it's great talking to you, man. Thanks so much. I actually really enjoy you. You're a lot of fun to have around, and
Sure.
if we could just get your ability to help me up to the
Sure.
right level, then
sure.
it would be better.
Sure. Absolutely.
The rest of you, we'll talk to you guys next time. Lewis, go.
I will.